Hey there, everybody. This is Dr. Samantha Sweeney, and this is Just Fun Friday, your weekly dose of how to infuse diversity into your life and the life of your kids. So I'm really looking forward to talking a little bit more about this because we are doing more like dolls and toys lately, and I'm loving that because I just think that dolls and toys are a great way to kind of infuse diversity and to really reflect back to kids what it is that like is actually out there in the world in a way that just talking about it or even showing them pictures and books like doesn't feel as real sometimes to little kids, but actually being able to hold something and play with it and kind of infuse it into whatever play that they're already engaging in is such a great way for kids to learn. So I love that we're going to be talking more about dolls and toys, and I love that I'm going to be telling you about this particular doll because I think it's a really cool one. So it's called Lammily Dolls, and it sounds exactly how it's spelled, exactly how it sounds. But I'll leave a link over to the website, so in case you're like, I'm not sure how to spell that, you'll be able to find it really easily. And let me tell you a little bit more about it. But before I do, let me tell you about the age range. So these dolls, and I'll tell you how they're different, but they're in some ways they're similar to Barbies in that they are dolls that kind of move around with their legs and arms, and you have different accessories that you can put on and that kind of thing. But so in terms of the age range, I think the age range is kind of similar. Barbie, I think, recommends most of their Barbies for like ages 3 and up. That's a good place to start, but you might want to start at 4 or 5 if you feel like your 3-year-old isn't really playing with those kinds of dolls yet. You might want to go a little bit older, but 3 is a general starting point, but you obviously always use your judgment. So let me tell you a little bit more about the dolls. So in a lot of ways, these dolls are similar to Barbies. In a lot of ways, they're kind of the anti-Barbie because these dolls actually have real proportions. So as many of you may know, Barbie's proportions are actually like not possible. The bust is like way bigger than anyone's bust as opposed to like their like waist size, as opposed to their hip size. Like those proportions aren't normal. And in fact, I think there was some research done that shows that like Barbie's proportions for a really long time were actually like impossible. Like she couldn't fit all her organs in if she had a waist that actual size. I think that Barbie has actually increased her waist size a little bit to be a little bit more proportional, but still, like who looks like that? Nobody looks like that Barbie. Like literally nobody has those exact proportions and body type. So this is kind of like the anti-Barbie because these dolls actually have accurate proportions and accurate body types so that they're actually reflective of what people actually look like, which is really, really like amazing. I think that this is such a big deal. The only thing about this particular doll that I don't love is that there's not that many options. So there is a, a white doll, a girl who has long brown hair. And then there is a black doll who has like kind of shorter, curlier hair. And then there is a boy doll who is white. And that's it. So there aren't a lot of options in terms of like different people to play with, and they're not reflective of everybody across the spectrum. But I really do think it's a great starting point because all girls need dolls that, even if like they don't have the right skin tone or the right hair texture or the right facial features, at least these dolls, have bodies that could look like theirs. Like it's possible their bodies could look like that. And they're not like ascribing to this kind of idealized idea of what a body should look like. So that's why I think it's really important. So I gave this on all of our Just for Fun items, we rate them on a scale of 0 to 5. I gave this one a 4 for all the reasons I just talked about. I really think it's so great that these body proportions are just accurate, which is just phenomenal. And I do like that they have at least a little bit of diversity there. I actually really love that they have a boy. I think that that's huge. That's absolutely huge. And then I love that they have an African-American girl, but I just wish they had a few more types of Barbies. I think that, it's obviously it's not a Barbie, so they don't have as much money, I'm sure, as other companies do. And, they're still working on growing, which is why you should support them if you can. But there aren't that many options. So, you kind of start with what you got and hopefully you can build from there because I think it's a really, really cool thing. So it's definitely a 4. And if you can check it out, I definitely would. So head on over to the website, www.culturallycompetentkkids.com, and you can get a quick one-page guide to everything that we just talked about. So the age range, some of the different diversity themes, some questions, comments, and some games and activities you can play with your child and with these dolls as you're going along, and also ways to continue the conversation. Because remember, even though it's important to have fun with diversity, have fun with these dolls, it's also important to keep going and to keep talking to your kids about like ascribing to certain standards standards of beauty, ascribing to like certain standards of what a body should like look like, and talking about the fact that yes, it's great to give them a doll that doesn't ascribe to impossible standards, but you also have to have a conversation with them about it. Not when they're 3 necessarily, and not when they're 4, but as they get older, to really talk to them about like what it means to be, a girl or even a boy in our society. They're held to impossible standards too, and to make sure that the standards that they're holding themselves to are attainable. At the very least, like make sure that they're actually attainable, and then make sure, to make sure that is this something that's really important to you? Is like, it's like trying to get to a certain body type. Is that really the most important thing in your life? And having that conversation with your kids. So I hope you'll head on over to the website. I hope you'll check it out, and I'll see you next week for another Just for Fun Friday. Thanks for joining us for another Just for Fun Friday. I hope that you enjoyed it and it inspired you to go out there this weekend and have even more fun with your kids. I've created something that I'm really excited to share with you, and I think you're really going to love. I've compiled this amazing book list of all different diverse books. It has different characters, different storylines, and I think you're really going to love it. It's for kids of all ages, from babies, yes, babies, all the way up to young adults. So in order to get it, go to www.culturallycompetentkids.com. Sign up for the newsletter, and it'll be sent straight to you right away, right to your inbox. You can use it for all sorts of things. You can use it for learning time, you can use it for literacy time, or just fun snuggle time with your kids. So sign up, enjoy it, and I'll see you next week for another Just for Fun Friday.